Cool. Settle yourselves into a very comfortable position. Doesn't matter where that is right now, just as long as it feels good. And then either closing the eyes or just letting the eye gaze soften to the floor, and breathe in through the nose, out through the nose. With there being so much going on in the world right now, and sometimes seeming such little going on at the same time, can keep the mind very busy. So this is a brilliant opportunity to practice stillness. Try to observe your breathing. In the sense of noticing how long your breath naturally feels. And parts of your body moving. And how it feels. And try and tune into your diaphragm filling up. So you may wonder, how can I feel this happening? So if you breathe in, filling up your belly, so your belly rises, and then you notice your rib cage expanding and your chest lifting. That is essentially your diaphragm filling up with breath and dropping all the way down as it expands, and that enables your lungs to take on a little bit more, and your rib cage expands to adapt to your lungs filling up. As you let the breath go, you can play around with what feels right for you. So you can first allow the chest to drop, the rib cage to close in, and the belly to then lift. Or you can focus on letting the belly fall first, the rib cage dropping next, and then the chest dropping last. There is no right, there is no wrong. There's just what feels right for you. I'm just going to take one more deep breath this way. And those of you seated, make your way down onto your back. Everyone, you're going to cross one ankle over the opposite knee. And then the foot that's crossed over is going to drop down towards the floor. So this is our first posture. Then place one hand on the inside of that thigh and just guide it away, and the other hand on the hip. And then you're just going to gently, almost like pull them apart from each other. So the hip, you're gently guiding towards the floor. It's never going to hit the floor because of your position, but you're just drawing it down towards the floor. And then the knee, you're gliding up and out. So there is a little bit of muscular activation going on in your upper body. I'm going to spend 5 breaths here. Just try and relax the leg that's on top. And drop down into a twist. So the leg that's on the top is going to continue to roll towards the floor. So you're laying on one of your hips. Now both shoulders aim to ground them to the floor. But if one shoulder is lifting quite far away, take something, cushion underneath that shoulder just to make it feel a little bit more comfortable. You can adjust your positioning here if you wish. The bottom leg can straighten out or keep the knee tucked under. The top leg you can straighten out as well if you wish, or keep the knee bent. Just find your twist. And then continue to turn your head to look away from the direction that your legs are. We're going to spend about 5 minutes here. Just taking a quick scan of your body from head to toe. Just notice what you feel. If there's anything you can let go of. Continue to breathe deeply as you did before. Softening your hands. Softening your shoulders. Back of your rib cage. Your hips. The bottom leg. The top leg. The feet. With every exhalation, noticing how your body sinks into the floor. Just going to take 5 more breaths here. Long, slow, deep breath. So as you exhale, see if you can get to your edge. Just to roll, allowing the top leg to roll a little bit closer to the floor. Just imagining the opposite shoulder is gently being held down, just with a gentle touch of a soft hand. Slowly rolling back to the center of the mat. Crossing this time the other ankle over the opposite knee. Guiding that leg outwards, away from your torso, and just allowing that foot to fall towards the floor. If you find that it's a bit of a struggle to get your foot, you can place something underneath it, and that will bring it up a little higher. Hand to the inside of the leg, other hand onto the hip, and then just gently guide them further away from one another. This helps to open that space out through the outer part of the hip and across the front of the hip bone. Just a few breaths like this. And then completing the rotation of the top leg over to that opposite side to find the twist. Adjusting yourself in any other position to feel fine for you. Turning the head to look down the opposite arm, the direction the legs are going. Maybe sliding the top leg out or not, your choice. So we're starting with the twist today. It's helping to create the space in the lower back. Which then allows a little bit more freedom for the rest of the muscles that attach to the hips to find their place. Scanning the body from head to toe again. How does this side feel? Where do you need to let go of? Avoiding comparisons with the other side. And letting go of expectations of how you think it should feel. So you can simply enjoy how it feels in this moment. There is so much you can physically feel here. Maybe you notice the stretch around the outer part of the hip and the glute of the top leg. Maybe you can tune into the sensation of the rotation of your mid-back. Maybe you notice something else completely different. Thing is, it doesn't really matter what you feel, because everybody is different. Everybody's shaped different. Everybody moves differently. So everyone will feel something completely different, even if the position looks the same. So if you feel something completely different to what I suggest, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Just going to take our last few breaths here. Coming right into the edge. And bringing that movement back in. So allowing yourself to unravel. Draw the knees in towards your chest in the center. And then from here, you're going to sit yourself up. We're going to make our way into sleeping swan. So in fact, you may choose to lay back down if you, I'll show you the option. If you lay back down, this is where you'll be. So one ankle crosses over the other. You hold the thigh in towards you. Or you're going to take the shin roughly the width of the mat. It doesn't matter which leg you do first, by the way, anyone which works. Then if the leg that's along the back, you're aiming to square your hip over the heel of the foot. If you've got a towel or a strap, this is where you're going to need it, in fact. This is if you're in this variation. You're going to hook that around the foot. Folding forwards. And then drawing the heel towards the bum. Of course, if you wish to lay down on your back instead, then you're just going to get the stretch through your glute max and your piriformis. Whereas we add the stretch into the quad when we're in this position here. So you pick whichever one. You can also choose not to add the quad stretch in. It's entirely up to you. But here, if you do add the quad stretch in, aim the foot slightly outside of your hip. That's going to ensure that your hip stays square to the floor and you get a much deeper sensation up the front of your thigh. Your other leg, make sure the knee is slightly wider than your hip bone. That means you'll get into your piriformis as well as your glute max. Now here, again, we're not going right to the very edge of the stretch straight away. And of course, if you don't have a belt or anything close by, you can use your hands to just gently rest onto the front of the foot or the ankle. Make sure wherever you are, you can allow yourself to sink. Breathing into the back of the rib cage. Feeling the ribs expanding in every direction. And as you let the breath go, feel the weight of your body drawing closer to the ground. We're in our last minute here. So now if you've got your foot, see if you can draw the heel a little bit closer to your bum. Three more breaths. And if you've got hold of the foot, let it go. walk up onto your hands. Then before we change sides, we're going to spin the leg that's behind you forwards. You're going to take the leg that was in front, cross the foot over the outside of the opposite thigh, and then your first option here is to take a twist. So you're hugging the leg and you're turning towards it. Or we can go for a half cow face pose. So this will enable you to go deeper into your piriformis. So for half cow, I'll turn around a little bit. So for half cow face, your aim is to bring the knee over the other knee. Doesn't have to be exactly over, it can be lifted up a little bit higher, and then draw that heel back towards the hip more. So the thighs are crossing. Then we lengthen the chest forwards here. You may notice a stretch through the hamstring of the bottom leg as well. So again, either half cow face with the knees stacking over, or place the foot flat to the floor, roughly level to the outside of the knee, hug that leg in and twist towards it. Both of these stretches will help you target the outer part of the hip. Especially if in this twist you kind of lift the leg up and draw it into the chest more. And that way that gets right around the outside here, similar to on the floor. Or half cow face, tucking the foot closer to the opposite hip, knee roughly stacks over. If you notice a difference in space, you can place a block or a cushion underneath the knee. Or underneath the knee of the bottom leg to lift both up a little higher. This actually makes it a little bit more comfortable as well. I'm not going to spend too long here. If you're in half cow face or half shoelace, allow the weight of your chest to press over the leg. And then slowly with each exhalation, just let go of a little bit of effort to draw you closer and closer to the floor. If you're in the twist, use your exhalation to just hug the leg in more. I'm going to take 3 more really deep breaths here. And after those breaths, slowly roll up. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So sleeping swan. So if you're on your back, last time lay down, cross the ankle over the knee, draw the leg in. So you can hold the leg in front of the, or in front of the shins, go a little deeper, or the back of the thigh, and you can use your elbow just to guide that knee out a little bit more. If you're the other way around, prepare your belt or your towel, anything that you have around your ankle or around the foot. The leg that's in the front of you, take the knee outside of your hip bone. Shuffle the leg back so your hips are grounded to the floor a little bit more. You can fill any space you have with blocks or cushions, maybe it's underneath the butt cheek. Find the foot with your hand or take hold of the belt if you wish. Or just leave that bit out if you wish. No need to compare the side to the other. Bring your attention into relaxing. If you're in such a place that you cannot relax, see if you can back off the intensity a little until you can relax. And then you gradually apply the intensity. That's the only way that you can get your body and your mind to adapt to a deeper range of motion without causing yourself stress. During that last minute here. So if you can find more intensity, go for it now. Enjoy the bit within that, a bit closer. And without forcing your body to fight it, embrace it. Three more breaths. And when you're ready to come out, if you've got hold of the foot, let go. Climb up onto the hands. Or if you're laying down, let go of the foot, uncross the leg. Now this time the leg that was behind you is going to spin round in front of you again. And that's going to lengthen out flat to the floor. And then the leg that was in the front of you, or the one that was crossing over the knee. So either going to place your foot flat to the floor, hug the leg, twist towards the inner part of that top leg, or slide the foot further over so the knee stacks above the other knee for half shoelace, half cow face, whichever name you want to call it. And again, you can find a little cushion or block to go underneath the knee, either knee that is, so either the top or the bottom. And then taking that little hinge forwards, so the stretch travels around the outer part and deeper inside the piriformis. If you're in the twist, try and keep a straight spine as you rotate towards the side. The hips stay still, the rotation comes from the rib cage. And also if you're in the twist, see if you can close the space between your torso and the leg. Just by hugging the leg a little bit closer in. Sometimes a little less effort can be so much more rewarding. Just 3 more breaths here. And slowly roll it up. Removing any stuff that's surrounding you. And we're going to turn over onto the knees. Now here, you may want a little bit extra padding underneath your knees. We're going to come into frog. So your knees are going to spread as wide as possible. So yeah, if you know this aggravates your knees, give yourself 2 little cushions either side to place your knees on. And we're going to come down onto the forearms. Now here, the back ankle is roughly level with the knee, and then your feet are flexed as if your toes are, as if you're on the inner edge of the foot the whole time. Now, if you notice that this is really uncomfortable for you, feel free to bring the feet together and find a really wide child's pose. I mean, this is the first time I've done it with 2 cushions underneath my knees. But it's actually like really good because it helps you to actually sink into it a little bit more. So hopefully already you can feel that deep stretch through the inner thigh. If you've got any more cushions that you want to put underneath your chest, then you can. If you want to bring your chest all the way down to the floor, you can. Wow, that's intense. This can be very intense for a lot of us. So if it does feel a little bit too much, just back out of it a little, maybe bring the knees a little bit closer together. And give yourself the opportunity then to soften into it. Amazing what a little bit of time and patience can achieve. And take a few more breaths here to let yourself go into the deepest place you can. Right to the edge of intensity. Maybe allowing the knees to slide a little wider. Maybe pushing your pelvis back a bit more. One more breath in. One more breath out. And as we make our way out, climb up onto your hands first. Bring the feet together. Sit the hips back. And then just wriggle the knees a little bit closer together. That's if you can feel anything in your own body. If you've got things in the way, just gently remove them out of the way. And then turn around onto your back. In fact, if you've got bolsters or cushions still around, place them underneath your knees. And roll down onto your back. Or choose any other position that feels comfortable for you. And then when you're here, let your eyes close. Inhaling down into the belly so the diaphragm completely fills. Exhaling. Just feeling the effects that everything's just had on the body. Count the length of your inhalation. And your exhalation. Try and lengthen for a longer count.
any thoughts other than the counting come into your mind here, remind yourself that you're just thinking, and then see if you can bring your attention back into your breath. Doesn't matter how many times you become distracted. It's how you deal with it that makes your mind stronger and makes you more focused. Allowing the count to stop. Just breathe. And bringing your attention back into your physical body. Maybe wiggling the toes. Gently rubbing the fingertips together. And slowly increasing movement. Making it a little bit bigger, let it travel a little bit further around the body. Doing whatever you need to awaken.
And then slowly, in your own time, in your own way, make your way back up to seated.